One of the big questions on educators' minds is, what does the future hold for learning? With all of the technological advancements and numerous learning opportunities out there, what sort of changes to the education field are we likely to see in the next decade? How is technology going to assist these changes? And how are the roles of teacher and student going to change as a result? This is a technological and educational forecast looking at how distance learning has changed over the years and where technology may lead us in the future. We will explore the past, present, and future of technology and learning in order to provide a historical, educational, and technological context. The evolution of teaching and learning at a distance began in 1728 when people had the opportunity to receive weekly lessons by mail to learn the art of shorthand. No longer were students required to congregate in the same location at the same time to receive instruction. It took another 100 years until distance education was institutionalized at Illinois University. In 1922, Penn State began offering courses through the radio, allowing a wider range and number of students to learn simultaneously and synchronously. And 40 years later, statewide courses were offered over the telephone, which again expanded the campus and program for prospective students. It was in 1994 when Cal Campus introduced the first fully online course, and by 2003, 81% of colleges offer at least one online course. As of 2014, 77% of U.S. companies offer online corporate training programs, 74% of companies are using online learning management systems, and 27% of higher education students are taking at least one online course. In the last 10 years, distance education has meant an increase in educational opportunities for students, enrolled 505 million U.S. students into educational programs they would have missed otherwise, and prompted educators to rethink the conventional definitions of teaching, learning, and communicating. Whatever the term for it, the opportunity to learn at a distance has evolved over the last 2 centuries with the aid of assistive technologies. As the scope and abilities of technologies continue to evolve at an ever-increasing pace, the number of educational applications also increase. While it's difficult to predict the next technological advancement, it is possible to foresee the incredible advancement in education as a result of the trajectory we're seeing in today's technologies. This leads us to the question, what's the future of technology and online learning? E-learning involves teaching and learning on an online platform using technologies that support cooperative learning and interactivity. Options for e-learning has dramatically increased over the years, mainly for practical reasons such as cost, convenience, and efficiency. The one thing that online courses are perceived to lack is a social interaction that offline courses rely upon. Andrew Ng, co-founder of Coursera, says that they recognize that online education is not a replacement for the real classroom experience. Other e-learning companies have come to the same understanding and have designed systems that allow for the affordances felt in the classroom environment while taking advantage of the affordances of online learning. Gather Education created an online-offline hybrid that allows students to take an online course yet benefit from the face-to-face interaction of a typical classroom. Technologies such as tablets and Microsoft Connect allow the teacher avatar to mimic the movements of the teacher, and breakout rooms allow peers to meet in small groups and receive the individualized interaction they require. This type of technology could be used for online courses, after-hours tutoring, private tutoring, or group projects. Teach Live is a mixed reality teacher training program that's being used successfully in over 80 campuses across the U.S. to develop target-specific skills. It's a classroom simulator that allows developing teachers to navigate the social, pedagogical, behavioral, and professional hurdles at varying degrees of need. While it doesn't replace institute teaching experiences, it does allow for customizable scenarios and immediate feedback. Massive open online courses were first introduced in 2008 as a widely accessible option for students across the globe. MOOCs are open and free to any student with an internet connection, with some MOOC sites gaining licenses, which means the sites allow free access to registered users. Whatever the option, MOOCs are broadening the educational opportunities for learners of all ages all over the world. Current studies find that there are certain characteristics that students feel benefit their experiences in a virtual classroom. One study looked at the student view on online learning, where they found that students valued the ability to see each other in real time so that they can get to know each other. The study also found that student learning and motivation increased when students were able to interact with the instructor in real time. Students also value reciprocal communication, where they can discuss, clarify, and receive instant feedback in order to deepen learning opportunities. One of the constraints of synchronized online learning is the fact that participants need to meet at the same time despite being in different time zones, class sizes that are too large restrict the amount of discussion that can take place, and technical difficulties with synchronous learning cause some students to miss out on valuable conversations. So ideally, the future of online learning would allow for a hybrid between synchronous and asynchronous learning to allow for real-time conversations, as well as the convenience of being able to learn at any time, day or night. It would also incorporate synchronous or asynchronous video to allow students and instructors to interact like they would in a classroom environment, an environment that supports interactivity among students and the instructor so that learning is cooperative instead of individual. 3D hologram technology could address many of these requirements and show to be the future of teaching and learning. A study done in 2010 found that 45% of educators found 3D hologram technology as an effective teaching tool. Teaching and learning can be done in different locations with the assistance of 3D hologram technology, with the appearance of being in the same location. This would allow teachers to see and interact with hologram students and students to interact with their hologram teacher. Learning via hologram technology would replicate the teaching experience in a physical classroom, which would limit the feeling of distance between the student and teacher. Compared to e-learning today, which relies mostly on written communication, 3D hologram learning would allow learners to experience audio-visual communication. It would also allow for the opportunity for remote guest speakers to attend class, or to view images, diagrams, and maps three-dimensionally. Since we have already developed holographic projectors designed for smartphones and tablets, the future of widespread 3D holographic learning could be closer than you may think. Video primary is a growing facet of communication across the globe, which is forecasted to represent 80% of web traffic by 2019. With the vast selection of capture and editing apps and software readily available on mobile and tablet devices today, it makes an easy task of creating a video for any purpose necessary. The future of online learning will likely incorporate videos of instruction and discussion to allow students to interact in a more intimate manner, but also incorporate the affordances allowed by video, such as the ability to pause and rewatch, as well as the ability to share publicly or privately. A 3D hologram education addresses some of the characteristics that students value in online learning, but it's also slightly lacking the opportunity for students and instructors to interact with the physical and nonverbal cues. To this end, it could be that the future of teaching and learning could involve a mixed reality option, where technology such as 3D holograms could be used in conjunction with smaller video breakout sessions between students and the instructor. Since the physical space of learning is changing, so will the role of teacher and student. Instead of a role of being the sole instructor, a teacher will take on the role of facilitator, mediator, and motivator. Flipped classrooms will likely take over the pedagogical realm with the use of video primary so that more time can be dedicated to discussion and collaboration. The role of the student will evolve into becoming a leader, cooperative learner, and facilitator. Classes will no longer be limited in size due to physical and monetary constraints. Instead, the amount of students collaborating together can be potentially unlimited. With the ever-increasing class size, regional study groups could be created to draw peers together that are in similar locations in the world. The future of technology and online learning is going to involve more intimate forms of video communication so that students are able to feel more connected to their instructor and classmates. Essentially, technology such as 3D holograms will allow students and educators to replicate the classroom experience so that the affordances of learning face-to-face and learning online meld into one form of elevated learning.